why is it so important that a firm invest in their intake process?
Yeah, so it might seem obvious, but you put money and time and effort into your marketing to get people to call your office. And then that's the opportunity to make sure that they become clients.
Mm-hmm.
So it's really important to kind of have the basics down of who's responsible for answering your phones, what's the schedule at all times of day, depending on your practice area, who's going to be picking up the phone. Do they know what to say? Do they know what information they need to provide that's going to meet your ideal client where they need to be to want to work with you? And, a huge part of that is also taking down the right information and taking the next steps with that, but making sure that that is really, really streamlined and you're going back and checking in on it and not just kind of leaving it up in the air when you've gotten someone to call you.
Yeah. Yeah. And so to that point of not leaving it up in the air, what do you think that firms should do in a scenario where somebody calls in, but they don't hire right away? Like, what should be the next step there be? And this is as a continuation of the intake process.
A lot of firms use client management systems to, take down formally the contact information, and then there should be a follow-up process. So that is a really important piece as well, because someone might be thinking about you but not sure yet, or they might be exploring other options. They're probably searching around and kind of comparing you against other people doing the same thing as you. So a follow-up could make a huge difference in whether they choose to work with you or not.
Yeah. What are some examples of really terrible intake processes that you've heard or seen?
Yeah, just really kind of robotic answering the phone, just kind of, hi, this is blank firm, and kind of just leaving it up to the person to kind of fill in the blanks. You should be ready and interested, and it should feel like you really want to hear about what this person's problem is, because often people are calling attorneys because they have a problem. Yeah. So there's a little bit of that human element that is very important.
Yeah. So, what are the key attributes that you would want to see in an intake person?
Yeah, I've done work that is similar to this before, and it really is, it's not as simple as it might seem to be. And I think it's important that firms don't kind of dismiss the importance of this work, because the person answering the phone needs to be actively listening and engaging so that they can really, show the person that is calling in that we care about what they're going through. But you also need to be extracting the right information to make sure you have everything you need to follow up and take the next steps with them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that makes a lot of sense. And I think to even carry that forward, it's a sales role. Mm-hmm. There are really two sales opportunities in a law firm. Like, once you actually have a conversation, one of them is at the point of intake. Like, can we get you in the door? Meaning, like, can we get a longer conversation going? That's step one. And then step two is like that consultation, whether it's in person or over the phone. That's the second sales conversation that happens in a law firm. There's always follow-ups and things like that. But one thing that, we always have kind of encouraged lawyers to read this book by Daniel Pink called To Sell Is Human, because I think lawyers thinking about selling, they're like, ooh, it's like people are just going to feel that that's not, like, it's kind of a sleazy thing. Mm-hmm. Like, because people have these weird conceptions sometimes about lawyers, generally speaking, because most people don't interact with them when they're in a great headspace.
Right,
always.
You don't really want to need a lawyer.
Right.
But
And people kind of have the same feeling about salespeople, right? You never want to be sold something, but people love to purchase. It's kind of a weird dynamic. So, like, investing in actual sales training, and that book, To Sell Is Human, we like to recommend that as office reading, because it talks about how everybody has to do this all the time. Mm-hmm. Like, in your daily life, you're constantly like moving towards a goal, and you need to communicate objectives, and that's like part of the sales process. And if what you're saying, the person has empathy and they're organized, they're able to like actively listen, those are all components of it. And then like thinking about it as an actual business sales process can be useful too.
Yeah, and a lot of people might not be, when they're going to hire an admin or someone who's going to be executing this work, they might not be thinking about that, and it's something that they should be interviewing for as well.
Yeah. That's a good point. Sometimes they're thinking more about, does this person have the legal acumen to do the job, versus does this person have the right skill set to get us from...
to represent my firm.
Yeah, from call to consult or consult to case and things like that. Yeah, absolutely.